Hi everyone, my name is Julie and I'm here to talk to you about the Year 11 and 12 experience. A little bit about me. I've actually got a Year 11 daughter right now who actually finished her drama exam this afternoon. So I actually know what it's like to be a parent at this time frame. Just so you're aware of any of the emergency exits if we need to use them, they're actually just here and just out the door over there through the glass doors. You should be able to get out and just follow the staff and they'll actually show you what to do if required. I'd like to acknowledge the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Right, so today what we're going to cover, we're going to talk about why come to Curtin Uni. We're going to talk about some of the pathways, and there are many of them. We're going to also explain how to apply for the 2025 first semester experience, so you can actually find out how to do that. We'll also touch on early offers, some accommodation information and scholarships. Scholarships are great, so it's important to make sure that you know a little bit about that, just because it can help financially to go through this tertiary experience. And then we're going to have people from the different faculties actually talk a little bit about their course, some of the new things that are happening, some of the important things that you need to be aware of. And then at the end, you've got another 20 or so minutes that you can actually go and talk to people in the expo area, and the moderators online will be there to answer any of your questions if you're online. So a little bit about the university. We are the largest uni in WA. We have over 40,000 students just on this campus alone, but we actually are very inclusive. We're very diverse. We have a great way of learning. So you learn the theory and then you get to put it into practice. So it's a theory practice model, and it's something that's really great for learning, I think. And the other thing is that we actually have a great global reputation. We have campuses right around the Indian Ocean rim. We have a campus in Dubai, in Singapore, Malaysia, and Mauritius. And we have great, strong industry links. So there's lots of opportunities for internships, to do practical placements, to actually get to know future employers through networking. So there's all those things that are important when it comes to choosing which university you'd like to go to. The way that a majority of students go or have gone in the past is the 8R pathway. So if you are in Year 11 or you've got daughters or sons in Year 11 and 12 at the moment, they could very well be doing that as a means of fulfilling their requirements to get into university. If someone is actually using the 8R pathway, it's the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, then they actually need to graduate. That means get their WACE. They need to have a high enough 8R for the type of course they want to do, and that can vary depending on the courses that we have here. The minimum requirement for the university in total is a 78R, but then a lot of courses can actually be higher than that to get in. And then there's the English competency level. So if you're doing an 8R pathway, you would do either 8R English, Lit or English as additional language or dialect, and get a 50% for that. And there are prerequisites for some of our courses. So not all courses require prerequisites, but there might be courses that are important that you have completed Year 11 and 12 level, so you've got the background knowledge to be able to cope with the course you're going into. So an example of that would be if you're trying to get into medicine, you must have passed 8R chemistry to be able to get into that course. And that's just an example of what a prerequisite is. But there are many other pathways to actually get into university. So Uni Ready is one of those. It's an enabling program for us. It's a 6 months course that you can do here on campus. We do have over 70 schools in the state actually doing Uni Ready in schools as well. But the great thing about this course is it will meet the requirements for a 78R course and give you the background knowledge in the area that you wish to actually study in. So that's a great thing about it. The good thing is that also you can use it as a pathway course to get into, say, a health science course or another course, and then move into something else if it is a little bit more competitive. So it's a great way of actually getting into the university, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to do Uni Ready. It's actually part of our an exempt HEX course. So it enables you to fulfil the requirements that you need. The other thing, and a lot of the unis actually are aware of this, is that it can actually get into other universities with Uni Ready, because it's actually one of these courses that has got good accreditation right across the board. The other is through portfolio entry. So we know that there are students that actually are very good in a specific area. And so we want to see what their gifts are and their talents are. So portfolio entry is a really good way of actually enabling us to see that. The important thing to remember, it's not for all courses, but definitely there is a portfolio entry course for a lot, entry for a lot of courses we have, and they're all listed up here. So for example, if you're trying to get into something like a fine arts degree, you can show your work and then show that you've got the aptitude for that. We're actually really lucky because we've got a portfolio toolkit that you can get on the website, and there's also some hard copies around as well. The important thing to remember, if you're trying to get in with a portfolio, a B grade in general English or higher is a requirement to actually get into the portfolio entry pathway. You still have to graduate and get your WACE, so we still want you to complete high school, but then we want to see what you're capable of by showing us all the work that you've done in the space that you're interested in. And you might be able to use some VET qualifications to show this. Also, you might be able to show some of the subjects you've done either at a general level or possibly some ATAR subjects, so we can see that you've got the aptitude for the course that you want to do. Some courses actually require additional requirements. It could be if you're trying to get into something that has a design element to it, so you would show your work for that. And there's sometimes you need to have specific subjects if you're looking into some of the health courses as well. So this is what the portfolio toolkit looks like on the website. You can actually click on there and just download it. It's very easy to do. And it'll go through and explain exactly what each portfolio person needs to do to make an application. One thing to remember though, it's so important that the students put in their application in the appropriate time now through TISC, but it's also important to know that you do need to have this portfolio in no later than the 2nd of December to be considered for the main round of offers. So that's an important part of that, and that needs to go through TISC, and it gets linked to the application and then sent through to us. So that's an important aspect to it, but there are parts to it. If you have a look at the portfolio toolkit, it'll go through step by step all the different things you have to achieve to get into the course that you want. Another way is through VET, so vocational education and training. So a lot of schools these days actually have VET pathways. So if you're interested in doing a cert, or your son or daughter's interested in doing something like that, then they can actually sometimes use this as a means of getting in as well. If a person has a certificate for and separate evidence of English, they will meet our 70 ATAR requirement, which makes them eligible to be considered. So this is what our little guide looks like this year. So it's a matter of just getting hold of one of those or downloading it off the website. And the important thing to remember is that you need at least a Cert 4 and then separate evidence of English. This can be done through many ways, either the WACE, ATAR English component, or it can be done through a general A grade in English as well. And then there's diplomas. So people might decide, oh, I'm going to go off to TAFE for a while, and then maybe I'll think about going to university later. Well, if you do a diploma at TAFE or a private provider that we recognise, then that will actually fulfil both the English requirement and getting into the university as well. So some of the things to remember about diplomas is that we actually, if you're doing a Cert 4, it'll give you a 70. If you're doing something higher than that, it could actually mean that your ATAR equivalent could be a little bit higher than 70 for that. The other thing to remember is that we do have Curtin College that's here on campus, that's affiliated with it. Curtin College actually has diploma courses and a lot of different areas that can lead into Curtin degrees as well. And if you complete a diploma course, it is equivalent to the first year of our degree if it's like for like. So an important thing to remember here is that you might find that this could be a good pathway as well. You're on campus, you do the same course pretty much as the first years, and then you move into second year if you've completed your diploma. It can take up to 12 months to do. Depends on which area you enter into, will determine what you've done at school. And also there's some great things like information that people who actually go to Curtin College, they feel like they're transitioning because they've also been on the campus already and even done some units with students who are in that course. These are the types of diplomas that you can do, and it varies right across all of the different areas. So you could do something like, for example, a psychology degree. You could start out doing the diploma at Curtin College if you don't have the ATAR necessarily to go straight in. And lastly, a way of fulfilling the English component is through the STAT, the Special Tertiary Admissions Test. And if you do the written section of that, it just means that you are able to then fulfil the requirements that we have for English. And so people who are actually doing, or students that are doing, say, VET qualifications can actually do the 23rd of November test if they need to fulfil the English component. If you're doing ATAR English and you don't do as well as what you would have liked, then you can sit the one in December or January. And passing, which is 140 out of 200, will actually meet and will concede you in English for that. So it's there as a backstop if you need it. There are many different ways of fulfilling English. The traditional way obviously is through the ATAR English. So if you get a 50% in ATAR English, Lit or English as additional language or dialect, you have met the English component for this uni. But we have also introduced the fact that if you do general English at an A grade, you will also be eligible as well from this year onwards. So that's a great thing to know, but there are many other ways of fulfilling English. It could be a diploma course, for example. It could be doing an international test like an IELTS or a Pearson test of English. There are many ways of fulfilling English. It's just a matter of fulfilling one of the ways that's going to work for you. One of the great things is that we are a step up, or if your student is in a step up school, then they will actually receive some assistance in their adjustment factors, we call it. And so what happens is if you get to between 60 to 69.95 and you've passed English, you get boosted up to 70. And if you get 70 or above, then you'll get an extra 5 points added to your score, to your ATAR ranking. It's a way to find out whether or not the school that your child is actually attending is to get onto our website and just look at the listings for 2025. So that's just something to be aware of. The great thing to know about these days is that you can apply to get into Curtin right now. So you can apply through the Tertiary Institutions Service Centre, and the TISC is open and you can put in an application tomorrow. It's quite good. The other thing is if you're an international student or an applicant, then you can apply direct to Curtin. And all you need to do is find the course through the study page and click on the Apply Now button, and then it'll just put you through the system. It's so important to think about the preferences and the order that you do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the next slide. And the other things I'm going to talk about a little bit forward is the important dates you need to be aware of if your child is in Year 12 this year. So from the point of view of preferences, it's so important to put down what the student wants to do the most at the uni they want to go to, and then think about the ranking order that they want to do their studies. So for example, we'll just put Curtin preferences for this, but you can put in other preferences for other unis as well. The Bachelor of Science, say your person wants to do occupational therapy honours degree, they could actually put that as a first preference. Then you can look at a pathway course, health sciences as a second. Then know that portfolio entry is possible for health sciences as well. And then there's the Uni Ready Enabling course that you can put as a backstop right at the end. And you can add different unis in there as well. You have up to 6 preferences you can choose. And it's very important that you put down the one that you want to do the most first, because obviously, and then in the ranking order, so then you get the highest preference you're eligible for, because you'll only receive one offer through this TISC offer preference rounds. If a person is doing Uni Ready in schools, well, they still have to apply through TISC, but the important thing to remember here is that you need to put in that you've been to uni before. So when you get to the university stage of the TISC application, you just click on yes, that you have. It'll have a drop-down list and you can click on other tertiary qualifications and just say non-award, and then type in uni ready. And then it'll have a drop-down list as well that'll go and say, are you currently enrolled? You would say yes. Then have you completed the course? Probably you haven't already, so you put no. But it'll ask you whether you're completing this year. And if you are, then you click on the yes for that. And that means we can pick up your results for the uni ready. There are some important dates. Obviously, the applications are open now from the 1st of May. If a person's interested in doing medicine next year, they have to put in a UCAT application before the 5th of June. That's the final late day that it's possible to do that. And applications for medicine, you have to do that. One great thing is we're having early offers. So they start on the 2nd of September. But the other important dates to remember is when the results come out. So they come out on the 15th of December. Then the main offers actually go out before Christmas on the 21st of December. And then you can take your offer or you can wait for the second round, which comes out on the 18th of January. But what happens if you don't have a high enough, or your child doesn't have a high enough ATAR? What do you do? Or maybe you haven't got the prerequisites, or your child hasn't got that because they've changed their mind, and that's fine too. What you can do is try and course switch. So my daughter actually did this option. She actually wanted to do occupational therapy. Unfortunately, she didn't get a high enough ATAR. She did get the prerequisite, which was a science, so she got that. So what she did was health sciences for the first year, and she mimicked the whole of the occupational therapy course of first year and the 2 semesters. She knew, because she looked at the website, that you needed a 65 average to be competitive to get into the course as a course switcher. And she got around at 70, I think, as an average. She doesn't mind me sharing. And then she got into the course at the end of the year, but she didn't just get into the course. Because she passed everything in first year, she actually moved into second year and everything was accredited. So course switching is a really good option. If you don't have a prerequisite, obviously, then you can pick it up through either health sciences for the health courses, multidisciplinary science for the actual science engineering courses, and also you can do any course you like really for law. You could do a commerce degree because it's in the same faculty area, or you could even do an arts degree if you were thinking, maybe I'd like to do a double degree with law and arts, for example. So it's actually really possible. Course switching is definitely a good way of doing it, especially if you're coming in through the uni ready option. The important thing to remember though is that we are having early offers. So what's happening with the competitive courses is that if you actually are thinking of trying to get into a competitive course, or your child is, what we do have is we will have some limited early offers for those courses. It does mean you do have to be actually quite high achieving and above the requirement by quite a way to actually receive those offers. But it is possible, and it can be due either through the IB or the WACE. It can be, as long as you've got the prerequisite subjects, etc., they're the offer conditions, but you can maybe receive an early offer. There are 3 courses that don't have early offers at all, and obviously that's medicine because of the interview process. A couple of our other health courses have quite small numbers, so we're going to wait until December for that, and that's the radiation therapy major for medical radiation science, and also the oral health course as well, because they're quite limited in numbers anyway. But the rest of the competitive courses that we have at Curtin, there could be an early offer option. If a person is less than 5 points above though, they will not be eligible for these competitive courses. But if they're above, it'll just depend on how many people have applied and how many course options or places they want to actually offer. For the non-competitive courses, it's actually quite easy. If you actually have more than 5 points higher than what the requirement is for that course, you will actually receive an early offer, and the only conditions on it is that you graduate, you have your English competency level, and you actually have any prerequisite component. If you're under the 5 points above, then you will have to also do your WACE and ATAR as well. So you'll have to achieve the ATAR that's required. And we have early offers for uni-ready in schools, but it has the conditions, obviously, of you passing uni-ready and actually finishing and getting your WACE, etc. in the English, all those other prerequisite requirements, possibly. The Cert 4, early offers are possible, but it's on condition of you completing that Cert 4 level, and also the WACE, passing English, and if there are any prerequisite requirements. And the portfolio entry is the same. It will be dependent on whether or not you've achieved your WACE and you've met any prerequisites and the achievement's high enough for what the actual course would like you to have. So the important thing to remember is that you do have to actually, well, you get your results. I think it was on the 15th of December off the top of my head. So you find that out. Then the offer comes out obviously on the 21st of December. If it's your first preference or if it's a child's first preference, it's a good idea to act and do something, either accept it or defer it. The only one that you can't defer is medicine. All our other courses you can defer. And then if it is your second preference or below, you can wait for the second round, see if you get a higher preference. You're guaranteed that preference you got in that main round or something higher. Then after you've enrolled, it's important, you just go off and get ready to go to orientation week. It's probably a good idea, just a handy hint, if you haven't got a job and you don't have a tax file number, kids in the room, it's important that you actually get that beforehand because it does hold you up in your enrolment a little bit. So try and get all those sorts of things out of the way as early as possible. So now I'm going to hand you over to Carissa, and she's going to talk to you about scholarships.
Thank you, Julie.
No worries.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Carissa. I'm a scholarships advisor here at Curtin. I've been here for 3 years now and just absolutely love it. So tonight I'm just giving you an overview on the future student scholarship information. This will be particularly for Year 12 students, just because we might have a different suite of scholarships offered for 2026, but that will later be confirmed next year. So we're going to be going over the different scholarship types that we have at Curtin, the application process, and some key dates for 2025. So scholarships at Curtin. Scholarships are a part of Curtin's commitment to reward academic excellence, support research, and enable students from all backgrounds to realise their potential. Curtin offers scholarships with many different benefits to students, so these include one-off cash payments, annual payments, fees, on-campus accommodation assistance, and industry connection with potential for vacation work. So the value and benefit type of the scholarship that you will receive will obviously depend on the scholarship you've applied for. So what scholarships do we offer? So we've got 3 different types at Curtin: merit, equity, and industry. So merit scholarships are available for high-achieving students and high-promising students from all backgrounds that demonstrate merit through academic excellence, leadership, and/or passion for their discipline. Equity scholarships are available to support students who are experiencing financial hardship and/or who come from disadvantaged backgrounds and/or identify being in an equity group. So an equity group would be a regional student, someone who identifies as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander, someone who might come from a low socioeconomic background, or someone who may have something outside of their schooling that impacts their ability to study, so that could be a medical condition. And lastly, we have industry. So industry scholarships are available to provide students with industry connections and can offer a range of support in addition to financial benefits such as vacation work, site visits, and pipeline to graduate opportunities. I just want to point out here that if you are interested in any equity scholarships, we have what is called the Equity Scholarship Program. So you'll actually apply for this one application form and you'll be matched to every single equity scholarship that you're eligible for in that 2025 opening. So we do all the hard work behind the scenes. All you need to do is actually submit that one application form. So the scholarship application process. So first of all, you want to head onto the website, select the Future Student Scholarships filter. That'll actually bring up all the scholarships that we have available for 2025. Some scholarships don't actually require an application. So if you head over to the application process header on the scholarships webpage, it'll actually let you know whether or not an application is required. So something like the Curtin Excellence Scholarship doesn't require an application. I'll talk a little bit more about that one in a second. But all you need to do to be considered for it is just to meet that eligibility criteria. So prepare. So we've got some helpful tips and guidance on the website as well. So we go into a little bit more detail about merit scholarships, equity scholarships, and the documentation types that are required for each of those applications. So that could go from a resume, reference letter, to an income statement or tax notice of assessment, more so for those equity-based scholarships. So in the submission stage, we want you to provide really detailed answers. Make sure you hit that word count. We want to know as much about you as possible, so don't feel shy. Please provide as much detail as you can. Attach all documentation and submit your application early. So if you email us or give us a call 1 week before the application deadline hits, and your application's been submitted, we'll actually review it for completion. Unfortunately, we can't give advice on the application content itself, but we can let you know that all your questions have been submitted correctly and that all the documentation you've provided is actually in date and correct, and that'll give you some reassurance that it will go through to assessment. Interviews. So some scholarships actually require interviews, so just make sure you know when that interview is. We've actually got it listed on the scholarships webpage, so make sure you're prepared for it and that you can actually attend when that invitation is sent out to you. So here are some popular school leaver scholarships. So we've got the John Curtin Scholarship Program. That's one of our most prestigious future student scholarships. So this one's based on merit, leadership, and community service. So your deputy principal or principal will actually nominate you for this scholarship, and you'll attach that nomination in your scholarship application. We've got the Curtin Excellence Scholarship. That's the one I just briefly mentioned before. So you don't need to apply for this one. Just meet the eligibility criteria on the website and we'll automatically consider you for it. We've also got the Curtin Principal's Recommendation Award and the Principal Starter Scholarship. So these two are one-off $1,000 cash payment scholarships. So if you're interested in the John Curtin Scholarship Program, Curtin Principal's Recommendation Award and Principal's Regional Starter Scholarship, I would have a chat with your Year 12 coordinator or career counsellor, as these three are nominated through them. So I would just have a chat to get that advice. And here we've got this scholarships timeline. So just keep these months in mind. We do have some more detailed dates on the website. So if you go onto the website and head on to key dates, you'll be actually able to see the closing dates for these scholarships. So in July, all of our future scholarship applications will open. In September, the John Curtin Scholarship Program will close. So this one closes a little bit earlier than our others, so just keep that one in mind. In November, we've got the Future Student Scholarship applications closing, so that's all of them, including the Principal's Recommendation Award and the Regional Starter Scholarship. In early December, that's the last day to finalise your TISC main round offer preferences for the Curtin Excellence Scholarship, so that's a really big preference criteria to keep in mind. And in late December, your scholarship outcomes will be dispatched around the same time as your TISC main round course offer. If you have any questions between now and then, well, before the closing date, you're more than welcome to give us a call, send us an email. We're happy to help up until that point. Thanks, guys. Just passing it over to Julie now.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about accommodation. We've got two types of accommodation. We have sort of the self-apartment style, where you live with a group of people, you share your own kitchen and sort of lounge area, and you have your own room. And we also have the more college style of accommodation, which is St Catherine's College, and that actually includes a meal plan. They actually even, I think, they clean your room once a week, which is pretty nice. And there's lots of other, great opportunities when you live in a college. So these are the sorts of accommodation where you can actually live on campus. And it's a really good idea. If someone is actually from a regional area, for example, it's great that they can live on campus if they don't have family members that they can live with. And it just means that we can look after you for that first transitional period from school to university, which I think is really important. Some of the things that are on the on-campus that is inclusive of the price is that you get all your utilities, there's gym membership off-peak, and there's also storage for bikes, and there's wellbeing support. There's a lot of great things that you will actually receive. And obviously, if you do live at St Catherine's, then you do get the opportunity of their academic and employability programs that they also have. Plus, it is catered for, so you don't have to cook your possible 2-minute noodles if you're actually living in the self-accommodated part. So why would you live on campus? Well, it is actually good that it's an all-inclusive cost, so you don't need to worry about all the other extra things because those utilities and things are always added in. It is convenient because it is right on campus, which is great, and we do have that security side of it that's there. So if someone is actually here in the library and they're working really late, security or safer communities can actually take them back to their accommodation. So these are some of the shots of what it's like to live on campus. It's actually a really fun, inclusive way. You can meet lots of people from all over the world and get an opportunity to actually increase your networks as well. Plus, it's a really fun place to be in a safe environment. The important thing to remember about making an application is that you can make an application already for St Catherine's. They have a pre-application time period now. So it's just a matter of just getting in touch with them and then making sure you do it as soon as possible. When it comes to the self-apartments, that's done by Unilodge, and they actually will have their applications open by October. So you just need to keep an eye on the website and just have a look for that. Now, what we're going to do now is we're actually going to have an opportunity to find out a little bit more about the different areas on campus and the different courses that you can do. So first of all, I'd like to invite Tomzani Dan. He's actually the Associate Lecturer and also the Coordinator of the Indigenous Enabling Programs. So welcome, Tomzani.
Thank you, Julie. I'm here representing the Centre for Aboriginal Studies. We're located at Building 211 on campus, and we do offer a variety of courses for Aboriginal students here at Curtin University. And when I do say Aboriginal, I also mean for Torres Strait Islander students as well. Faculties, Centre for Aboriginal Studies, Health Sciences, and as you can see, the title's up there. So Centre for Aboriginal Studies, we're about be supported and empowered. The Centre for Aboriginal Studies, or the acronym as CAS, is dedicated to creating long-lasting impact and meaningful change for Aboriginal Australians. We strive to help broaden Indigenous knowledge and contribute to Aboriginal communities and well-being while being part of the supporter base on campus where you can access culturally appropriate support services and join a range of student activities. So the Centre for Aboriginal Studies, we do offer courses out of the space. If you haven't achieved the best with an ATAR or you haven't met those prerequisites that you would have met in high school, we do offer enabling courses for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. And the 3 courses we do offer is the Indigenous Tertiary Enabling course, which goes for 6 months, 13 weeks, which is 1 semester. You complete the course, you build up your academic writing, you learn about Indigenous Australian studies in the history context, about what's happened in the past, prior to colonisation, what happened during the colonisation, but also the way forward together. And then you also pick up academic writing and how to write in that university sense. And once you complete the course, it gives you an ATAR about 70, and you can get into anything within the Bachelor of Arts and also the Humanities section within the faculties here at Curtin University, but also a linkage into the Bachelor of Science to get into social science, social work, but also psychology as well. If you did want to get into the 2 other courses, they go for a year, which is inclusive of semester 1 and semester 2. The first one being the Indigenous Pre-Medicine and Health Sciences course. And that's where you'd pick up those units, the subjects, if you didn't do it in your high school, relegated to biology and also chemistry. You can pick up those units in doing the Indigenous Pre-Medicine and Health Sciences course, along with the academic writing and along with the history as well. Once you do complete the course, it allows you to go into the pre-medicine and also anything within the health sciences field. And then you have your last one, which is the Indigenous Pre-Science and Engineering course. That allows you to get into the science courses here at Curtin University, but also anything within the engineering school. And the focus within the units or the subjects you do study within the stream will be pertaining to mathematics or science, anything in the physics. Fundamentals of physics will be one of the units, and I think calculus may be in that space, but I'd have to double check. The other thing is we do have a bachelor degree in applied science and Indigenous professional practices. An associate degree is a 2-year degree for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. If you want to major within Indigenous community management and development, and we also, within that same space, you can also work towards an Indigenous mental health worker as well. If you do 2 years, you get the associate degree. However, if you go on to your 3rd year within that degree, they'll progress to a Bachelor of Applied Science and Indigenous Professional Practices, majoring in the 2 spaces as well, but it helps link you up with creating definite change within the community where you might belong to, but also around if you wanted to move around alongside Australia as well. In Indigenous community development and project management, and also Indigenous mental health principles and practices. So the block release intensive study format is, you come down to Curtin University, you study intensively within the Bachelor of Applied Science degree, and then you work your way through that. But it's 2 weeks out of the time you come in intensively, go away, complete your remainder of assessments, come back in and do the same as well. And then that's semester 1 completed, and then semester 2 follows the same format. We do offer support for all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students, be it if you are coming through the enabling courses, but also if you're getting into your first year undergraduate course, if you get direct entry into university. So we provide financial support, supporting in the sense for scholarships, and those scholarships specifically for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. There's also the ASPP program, which is the Aboriginal Student Placement Program. We actually help work with students in finding employment on campus, be it casual part-time, and then depending on what field you're studying within the university or what faculty, there could be jobs in those areas. AB study applications, we can assist in that space. Emergency support, if you were residing here in Perth or you need to move down to Perth for studies, we can have emergency accommodation support ready for you to go. Regarding studying, to make you do the best of your time here studying, we do have the ITAS scheme, which is the Indigenous Territory Assistance scheme to do with tutoring. We are entitled to tutoring, free tutoring support, being an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander student, helping close that gap in education. There was also the CAS Deadly Mentoring Program. And we do have a lot of resources around accommodation support, so we do link in with all the accommodation here on campus. That was previously mentioned by Julie. We do have a counsellor based at the Centre for Aboriginal Studies. If you did feel like it was appropriate to approach an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander counsellor, we do have that service, and there's accessibility services if you do need anything. Being a student of the Curtin University, being a student of the Centre for Aboriginal Studies, we have our dedicated 24/7 computer lab. We have access to free Wi-Fi and a common room, and we do help you out with printing on campus. That's really about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tomzani. Please welcome Chanel Gibbs. She's the Senior Student Experience Coordinator for the Faculty of Humanities. So welcome.
Hi everyone. As you heard, my name's Chanel and I work in the Faculty of Humanities. Humanities is very broad faculty, so I'm not going to go through every course. We will be here till probably midnight and I can talk a lot, so I've been given a time frame. But if any of the courses you know in Humanities you want to come and speak to us about, we have some lovely students and I'll be in the expo area after and we'd love to chat to you. So, why choose Humanities? So you've probably heard everyone's talking about AI and like it's going to take over our jobs and all of that kind of stuff, but honestly, AI at the moment only knows what we know. So what we need, and look, let's be honest, all the world's problems haven't been solved yet. So what we actually need is people to be creative problem solvers. You know, we need people to look at history, at future, at how cultural things work together, how, you know, how our cities and towns work, how we interact with spaces. You know, there's so much things like that that we actually need people to get the skills to be able to do. So if you do a humanities degree, it doesn't matter which one, you will be coming out with lots of skills that can help you do that. And obviously Curtin is very much about practical learning, project learning, and integrating sort of theory and practice all the time, and we definitely do that in Humanities a lot. I am a Humanities graduate, and I definitely use my degree if it's like the problem solving, project management, you know, having to present, doing all these kind of things. I definitely use it every day. Also in Humanities, our academics are so passionate that honestly I come out of meetings sometimes and I'm like, I need to study that, and then I'll meet with someone else, I'm like, oh, that sounds so fun. Like they just make everything really, really exciting, and it's definitely really infectious. So that's what I love probably the most about being in Humanities. So where to start? Because there is lots of different things, but we've kind of grouped some courses together to help you start on the journey of thinking about what you might do if you are interested in humanities. So we have courses where you can look at how people interact with spaces, and that could be interior spaces, it could be buildings, it could be cities, it could be, you know, town infrastructure, things like that. So that's things like architecture, construction management. We also, if you're really interested in telling stories, analysing information, you know, interpreting it, communicating it to others, so we have things like, you know, professional writing, journalism, things like that, communications. We also, if you're really, really keen, if you're studying at school, things like history and geography, and you really love that, we have things where you can explore cultures and languages and sort of interpret history and how the world works and interacts with each other. So we have courses like that. We also have teaching, so if you're really keen on, you know, teaching others, you want to inspire others, maybe you want to work in education policy and things like that, we have courses for you there. And then we also have, if you're really excited about being creative and, you know, maybe you like performing or art, or also writing and things like that, we have like photography, advertising, fine arts, screen arts and theatre arts, things like that as well. So we have a lot of stuff, but they all have the same kind of, you know, vibe to them. We also have a lot of industry links. We have students that are working for ABC, Channel 7 that did communications and media. We obviously, we have a really good relationship with Adobe where we do lots of courses and things like that for our students to actually learn all the Adobe products and things like that. And, you know, obviously there's a lot there. So students are getting experience while you're actually studying, and, you know, you'll have a really good idea about what the industry is like before you graduate. When I was at uni, I definitely did a lot of, like, anytime something came up with industry, if it was like an industry presentation or a pitch night or something like that, I always volunteered for that, and it just makes you learn so much more, and you really understand everything a little bit more, and you can even, like, sometimes there's competitions where you can win like money and prizes and things like that, so I definitely say be involved in those because that's pretty great. We have some pretty awesome facilities. Our faculty's kind of split across the campus, but we have brand new building 418 that has some things I'm very jealous of because it wasn't around when I was studying, but 3D printers and a lot of tech support and things like that. We also have the design computer labs and fine art studios and all that kind of stuff. We have a journalism studio. We have, just lots of stuff so you can actually, while you're on campus, learn what it would be like to be in industry. And I'm pretty sure industry come on campus sometimes they're very jealous of the facilities we have, which is pretty cool. So we do have 3 schools. One of them is the School of Education. So this one is pretty sort of self-explanatory. That's where all our teaching courses are held. So if you want to do early childhood, if you want to do primary teaching, if you want to be a secondary teacher, we do those. You know, I'll go through the secondary education structure, just because we do have, if you want to be, say, a physics teacher, you do have to do physics ATAR and things like that. So if you're in secondary and you know what kind of area you want to go into, do those subjects at school. It's more likely you'll get in to the course, but it will also make your life a lot easier. Definitely recommend that. We have design and built environment, so that houses our architecture, construction management, interior architecture, and also design. And design has a lot of majors in it, so it's advertising, fashion, graphics, design innovation, photography. That's a very customisable degree, so you can sort of add those things in and mix them up a little bit depending on what you want to do. We also have our School of Media, Creative Arts and Social Inquiry. So that houses our Bachelor of Arts, our Bachelor of Communications, where you can sort of specialise in journalism or other media, but it's definitely like a focused communications degree. And then our Creative Arts, which is like our fine art, theatre arts, screen arts. And so as you can see with our Bachelor of Arts, it's very customisable, and there's lots of majors you can do there, and sort of mix and match them with other courses and things like that. And that's me done. If you want, you can have a look at our email us, you can have a look at some of our grad show videos and things like that there, but we would love to chat to you about that in the expo area after. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Chanel. Okay, so now we're very fortunate to welcome Hannah Wilkinson, the Director of Student Engagement, and Dr. Narelle Morris, who is the course lead for the Bachelor of Laws from the Faculty of Business and Law. Welcome.
Hi everyone. Narelle, if you want to come up too, we've got the next slide's got a picture, but Julie just did introduce us. So I'm Hannah, the Director of Student Engagement. I'm going to just talk to you about the Curtin Business School and the courses that fit under that particular part of our faculty. And then I'll hand to Narelle, who will cover off on the Curtin Law School. So firstly, if you are considering a business and law degree, really in Western Australia, you've got one choice. The Curtin Business School is the most accredited business school in Western Australia. It's the largest and it's the most comprehensive. So we actually offer majors and disciplines within our business education that you can only study here at Curtin if you're staying in Western Australia. Because we want to take business we want to move you forward as students, we also see the global importance of really interacting with your peers, interacting with the community and the industry. We cannot do business alone in a place like Perth. We have to have a global outset and a global mindset, and the degrees are really designed to make sure that students understand how culturally different areas do business, but also that network, the people that you study with, but also end up working with, are really going to set your experience apart and really boost your employability moving forward. We are absolutely known for those industry connections, and that's seen across the business disciplines as well as the law degrees too. So as we were talking about accreditation, we really do take this seriously. Almost all of our different areas across multiple different parts and aspects of business management and commerce carries professional accreditation. So you're knowing that the quality of education you're studying within these fields will ultimately get you that recognition in those professional bodies and workplaces moving forward. So this is just a snapshot, but also can be a motivator for why you may be choosing one of our courses. So within the business school, we actually have 3 main undergraduate business courses: the Bachelor of Business Administration, the Bachelor of Commerce, and the Bachelor of Innovation. One of the main benefits of this is lots of students come to us knowing that they might want to do a kind of commerce or business type undergraduate degree, but not always know exactly which one. The benefit of this is that actually they all start in exactly the same way, and we wrap a lot of support around making students feel more confident and comfortable with the decision of which areas they might want to specialise or major in. Because they all start in the same way, that means that students can course switch and make sure that they've got the right degree as they move through their time with us at Curtin. So you then go into particular areas. So within the Bachelor of Business Administration, you're getting a broad understanding of all different types of business sectors, different business principles, from things like project management to a little bit of finance, a little bit of information systems. You're really becoming a generalist who could work in any sector. So it could be an engineering firm, a health practice, you could be an entrepreneur. You're getting a really broad range of skills in the Bachelor of Business Administration. For the Bachelor of Commerce, you're getting depth. So rather than being a broad generalist, you're actually starting to specialise in one or more area of business. So that could be something like accounting, say, where you're wanting to follow that profession and you're wanting to get the recognition. So the Bachelor of Commerce might be your degree. And then just starting this year, we've had our first intake in the Bachelor of Innovation. So this takes a really good kind of look at how business is enabling us solving some of the world's wicked problems through innovation, through entrepreneurial, and through design thinking aspects. No matter which one you choose, they're going to be industry connected, they're going to be building and boosting your networks, and they're all going to complete with transformational learning experiences. So this is just a few examples of the types of transformational experiences our students get, irrespective of which of the business or innovation degrees they choose. So we do things for credit like internships, so getting students actually working in industry as part of their degree. We have things like clinical placements, so if you're interested in tax, in the law school we have a law clinic too, where we're actually providing pro bono work alongside registered professionals and getting really hands-on experience. It could be an overseas experience. I started by saying we have to understand globally how business is done. So going on a study tour with fellow students or going to one of our many industry partners or other universities to have experiences overseas. We're also going to have areas like wicked problems. So this is not just kind of thinking, what would a unit be about wicked problems? This is taking some of the world's biggest issues and applying innovative and business principles to solving some of those problems. That will be working directly with industry to solve some of these kind of much needed areas that we can all live and be in a better environment for. I'm just going to hand over now to Narelle, and she'll do the law side of the faculty.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm Associate Professor Narelle Morris. I'm the Deputy Head of the Law School and Head of the Law courses, as Hannah introduced me. So we also in the Curtin Law School teach business law and we teach tax, which students would take as a part of the Bachelor of Commerce if you're interested in that very depth focus on business law or tax. But if you've got any idea, or your son or daughter has any idea of wanting to become a legal practitioner, then what you actually need to do is a Bachelor of Laws course, and that's my obvious area of interest. So why study law at Curtin? Of course, we are one of the younger law schools in the state, but we've been around for more than a decade and we have over 600 graduates now from our courses. So we give you the legal disciplinary knowledge, everything from criminal law, torts, corporate law, and all the variety of disciplinary areas that go with it. One of the things we're very proud of, we don't just sit and teach you the knowledge, we could do that anywhere, but we actually take you into the city, and 2/3 of the single degree of the Bachelor of Law is taught in our city premises in Perth CBD. And our district court is our rear neighbour. We bring in industry practitioners so that you can actually learn from real lawyers. It's not just reading from books. So there are a number of other reasons why you'd want to do law at Curtin, including the practical learning experiences that we offer, such as our John Curtin Law Clinic and also the Curtin Tax Clinic. One's a functioning law firm, the other one's a functioning tax firm, and they provide pro bono advice to members of the Curtin community at large, including students, as well as the general public. So it's free services for the community. And that gives students the ability to get practical experience in working with real people, understanding their problems and applying what they know, not just solving a problem that I might perchance give them. So what can you do for the Bachelor of Laws? Keeping in mind this is the one you want to do if you want to become a legal practitioner or you've got any thought you might want to. You can do the single degree, but also a range of double degrees, including new ones this year, brand new, with the Bachelor of Innovation in our faculty, but also the Bachelor of Science. And we will be slowly adding more majors to the double degrees as well as they progress. Now, one of the things I just want to finish on before we move on, the original Bachelor of Laws or a Juris Doctor is not the only qualification you need to become a legal practitioner in Western Australia or in Australia generally. You need that first qualification, but Curtin is the only university in Western Australia where we can take you as a school leaver and we can give you every qualification and walk you through the process all the way to the point of admission ceremony in the Supreme Court of Western Australia. And that's because we teach practical legal training, otherwise known as a Graduate Diploma of Legal Practice, which is the second academic qualification required for admission. So you can do both the undergraduate Bachelor of Laws or a double degree, then do your PLT with us, and then move on to completion.
Okay, so just finishing off, we've also got the other double degrees, and this is just a kind of selection, so definitely having a look in the guides if a commerce or law degree sounds like it might be a good combination for you. But as we kind of started with regards to really boosting that employability, building your network, it's far more beyond the classroom as well, so we have a lot of emphasis on students getting involved in clubs and societies. We see our clubs and societies working with industry from the very beginning of the student experience all the way through to graduation. And this is just a snapshot of those areas that you can get involved in. So it really boosts that student experience. The engagement and employability side, we do take incredibly seriously. All of those examples that Narelle and I have given are for credit, so they're a way of getting through the degree, but also building those connections with industry. And that can be here in Perth, it could be regional, but it can also be overseas. And we do a lot of kind of employability enhancing programs throughout the commerce and law degrees, so students can do things like high achievers programs and gain that real professional kind of credibility to go into the workplace prepared. Good luck with everything, and I'll hand back over to Julie for the next presenters. Thank you.
And of course, we'll be available in the expo area immediately afterwards if you have detailed questions about our faculty. Thank you.
Okay, luckily we've got Shay Marifat. She's here to actually talk about health sciences. She's the manager of student engagement. I'd like to welcome Shay. Clicking.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yep. Good. Hi, everyone. My name is Shay Marifat. I'm the manager of student engagement for the Faculty of Health Sciences. And on behalf of the faculty, I'm here tonight to just give you an overview of health sciences here at Curtin. We do have 4 schools within the Faculty of Health Sciences, and we offer 23 undergraduate degree across our 4 schools. We have Curtin Medical Schools that comes with courses like medicine, advanced biomedical science, lab medicine, pharmacy, and as you can see in the list here. And then we have Curtin School of Nursing with the courses like midwifery, nursing, paramedicine, which is a new course that's coming next year, and oral health therapy. Then we have a Curtin School of Allied Health with disciplines like OT, speech pathology, physio, social work, and sports and exercise science. And last but not least, we have School of Population Health with a range of courses as double degrees with FBL, but also the single courses as dietetics, nutrition, health promotion, and many more courses coming within that school. And one of the things that I would like to mention tonight is that the faculty offers the more, we have all the range of different health sciences courses within our faculty, and I think we're only just not having a few health education courses that we are not offering here at Curtin. Some of the health science courses require prerequisite, as Julie mentioned earlier, such as OT, speech pathology, and physio. They all require one science ATAR. That could be chemistry or could be human biology. And then we have courses like advanced biomedical science that requires maths methods, or the courses like medical radiation that requires maths app. But I would like to highlight some of the information. Sorry, I'll just be very quick with my, is it going to click on myself? Yeah. Sorry, I just thought I would start by outlining why choosing a career in health sciences area is a really good idea. Perhaps today, more than ever, healthcare workers are amongst our community's most highly valued and respected members. Indeed, in the past few years, we all see that the critical role that medical scientists and healthcare workers play in our society. But when you're going to the university, you're hoping to get a profession that leads to a job. And the demand for health science professionals are always very high. But would that be the only thing that matters? No. We need a job that gives you the satisfaction. We need a job that brings you the rewarding and satisfaction within the job. And we know that the health science courses are always very rewarding careers. And it's good to know that you could expect a higher average pay if you're doing the health discipline, any of health careers as well. But it would be very remiss of me if I left you today with the impression that everything about health sciences is fabulous. Of course, it comes with the challenges as well, and we would like you to know these challenges before you sign up to our courses. Firstly, you must be prepared for a lifelong learning journey, because learning would not stop when you finish the university here. Every day, every week, every month, there will be a research published that changes the way that we're working. The techniques that we are using and our understanding of diseases are changing constantly. So we need to be constantly learning to apply that knowledge to our day-to-day practice. Some work could be physically and emotionally demanding as well, like doctors, nurses, and physiotherapists, that they have to stay on their feet for long hours to support their patients with injuries or disabilities. So you have to understand that you need to keep the level of your fitness and strength very high to be able to cope with the day-to-day routines in these careers. And also, these careers could also be very emotionally demanding as well, because not all our patients will get better or achieve their goals. And it's important that we could take those disappointments not personally and be able to manage our emotions. So these are the things that you need to know before you sign up for health sciences. All right, so a few courses from faculty that I picked tonight to just talk about. One of them is the Bachelor of Science Health Sciences. This is by far the most flexible course within health sciences. And as Julie again mentioned, some of the students just use this as a pathway to course switch to other health science professions. But I should admit that this is a very competitive pathway. If you choose to do the health science courses as a course switch to other professions, you have to make sure that you understand that the process is very competitive. So it depends on how well you do your studies in the first semester or first year, then you will be able to be successful in your application for course switch. So one of the things that I always recommend a student is to carefully choose the course you're doing. For example, if you are into physiotherapy, but you're not getting the minimum entry requirements for this course, you better consider going through the sports and exercise science, which have very similar curriculum, and then you can switch from that course to physio. And if not, then there would be something for you that maybe you would like to pursue, instead of lock yourself into the health sciences if this is not a course for you, if your application is not successful. However, graduates from this course also can have a wide range of career opportunities in the future. The course has a few majors within itself in the structure, and the graduate can pursue the roles such as health promotion officer, public health officer. They can work in the health service managerial role, so they can work across the various sectors, including the government agencies, non-profits, healthcare facilities, an international health organization, and many more. But most importantly, graduates from this course can be well prepared for further study in specialized fields such as public health and health administration. The next course that I picked for having a chat tonight is the Bachelor of Science Paramedicine. This course is a new course for health sciences from 2025. The course is for people who would like to work on the front line of medical care, responding to emergency calls from the public and providing the pre-hospital care. And the course is giving you the knowledge and skills to work as a paramedic in Australia and internationally. And throughout the course, you will be taught by experienced paramedics with the expertise in emergency ambulance setting, tactical operation, rescue services, rural and remote practice, and industrial context. And this course is coming in the school of comes to us through the School of Nursing, same as well as the Bachelor of Science Midwifery is a new course for Curtin from 2025, and this course also offers an impactful and rewarding career directly contributing to the health and well-being of mothers and babies. Midwives has a diverse career option, including roles as a registered midwife in hospital and community settings. I would like to talk more about these courses, but there will actually the event happening in the School of Nursing on Wednesday, 19th of June. You can come to our expo if you're interested in these two courses, because that event is run in the afternoon, and it's a great event that they're focusing on these two courses that offering from 2025. So all the academics will be there to answer any question you may have. And of course, last but not least, I know that there are a lot of questions about the MBBS here at Curtin. So I just would like to talk about admissions to this course. The Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery is a 5 years medicine course, and we are the only university offering the 5 years medicine here in WA. The minimum ATAR would be 95, but 95 is very stretched. You have to be able to get more to get very competitive course, and you only have like a quota of nearly 100 students can go through this course every year. Also, the prerequisite of chemistry ATAR is one of the important things. If you get these two, then as again Julie mentioned, you have to sat for UCAT. The UCAT is online test that all the university offering the medicine and dental program here in Australia should take place. But also Casper test is another level of admissions that the students should go through, and the Casper test is assessed based on your like a critical personal skills like compassion, those type of skills that you need to have. The compassion, self-awareness, communication, those skills. And if you have passes all these levels, then you will be invited for an interviews. And the interviews is also coming into 3 rounds. And after that, you will, if you're successful, you get into the medicine. But again, we will be out in the expo. If you have any question, we are more than happy to take your question out there. And thank you so much for tonight. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Shay. Last but not least, we've actually got Mark Stoitis. He is the Director of Student Engagement for the Faculty of Health, of Science and Engineering.
Right.
There you go. Off you go.
Have I got this one? All right, here we go.
Yes.
I get a clicker too. Oh, you've waited patiently, I can tell. First and foremost, I can personally vouch for the Bachelor of Arts, having worked alongside Chanel Gibbs as she studied it. She was no problem at all. Chanel, I remember it being a very easy time for you, both studying and working. No, it was a great, and I do remember Chanel speaking glowingly of the experience. I'm Director of Student Engagement. I will get through relatively quickly, I promise. You can get out and ask those questions. Yeah, look, we're a massive faculty, just like all of them are, really. Again, we cover all of these things. Just a couple of things to get your kind of head around. The fact is, I'm getting up here and telling you that more maths, more science, more chemistry. That's what you all need. Keep it up. Partially true. All of those things there require some of that. How many Year 11s have I got? Hands up, Year 11s? Year 12s? Have I got Year 12s? Okay. For my Year 12s, your card's a little bit marked, obviously. We know that. There will always be a pathway for you into our faculty. We, of course, welcome everyone from every different background. For my Year 11s, the message is stick with it. If you're doing methods and you can do it, stick with it. If you're doing chemistry, stick with it. If you're doing physics, stick with it. The benefits of doing those subjects at school are hugely put you in front of what we're looking for. That pre-knowledge at high school, super important success in our faculty. It's not to say that we don't bridge and we don't do all those things, but we do honestly believe that maths and science, a little bit like a language, you've been immersed in it for 2 years, you've got a far greater knowledge as opposed to us kind of trying to bridge you up where we kind of give you the basics that you require. So that's a really important message from our faculties to stick with it. For my Year 12s, we will find a way. So they're the areas. I won't go into it too much. As I say, for our sciences, you can see the video there. I'll quickly go across all the areas that we teach in science. Look, if you can't find something that you don't love there, then you're probably missing out. There's a few bespoke degrees which I haven't touched on, which I'm a bit disappointed about, but I don't have all the time. But things like actual rural science we do. We do a Bachelor of Geology and all the rest of it that sit outside our Bachelor of Science degrees. I'm not going to go into those, but they're the areas that we cover in our Bachelor of Science. A bit like the Bachelor of Commerce, you can mix and match those majors. You can do specialisations. As an example, many of our students will do, let's say, data science, and they will mix it up with ICT or physics. So the capacity to be able to find your tribe. I'm all about that. I'm all about you coming to our faculty and finding your people. And that, to us, is what we value ourselves on and what we try to do. Because we know that this, much like all the rest of the terrific faculties, is about getting to university and studying and finding the people you're going to study with for the next few years. A Bachelor of Engineering, I don't need to talk about too much about that. We have a terrific reputation out there. I'm not going to bang on about it. The reality situation is that we take around 800 engineers every year into our various majors, which I'll go back to, but they're just some of the things that we're doing. This year, we're taking on, we're bringing energy engineering into the mix, as you can imagine, and software engineering as well as 2 majors, which will complement our already terrific majors around electrical, mining, and all the rest of it that we do. What I want to quickly do is I'll quickly go back there. So for our Bachelor of Engineering, I think what's critical for people to understand is it's a generic first year, much a little bit like science. You jump in, you do the first year of engineering together, 800 of you. It's truly frightening in the engineering pavilion. Then you go in and actually pick your majors. So we do a generic first year and you don't actually need to choose. I would think orientation this year did about 800. I would say that 800, maybe 500 actually knew what engineering they wanted to do. And the other 3 were still kind of picking. So the whole idea for us is very much to give a broad engineering education that first year, quite a bit like science, really. So really, from my end, I'm happy to take any specific questions about our prereqs and all the rest of it. But for those sitting there tonight, you've done remarkably well. It's quite late on a Tuesday night. And again, I reiterate my message to my Year 12s to enjoy the last couple of weeks. All the best in your ATAR exams. And for my Year 11s, stick fat to it, people. Keep going, all right? Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Okay, so lastly, I just want to mention about the supports that you will get when you are actually at Curtin for the Year 11s and 12s in the room, and the parents who are here as well. If a person has a learning challenge, then definitely we have accessibility counsellors or advisors that can help you. So if one of your children decide to come here, make sure you get in touch with the accessibility advisors as soon as they are offered a place. The important things I want to remind you of are some upcoming events that we do have. So the School of Nursing will have an information night on midwifery and paramedicine on Wednesday the 19th of June from 6 p.m. And then there will also be a scholarships information webinar that is on the 8th of August at 5:30 onwards. But thanks so much for attending the Year 9 to 12 information evening. For the online attendees, you can continue to ask questions because there'll be online moderators for the next, at least 15 minutes. And they will be online and available at least until 8 o'clock. For our in-person audience, lovely people that you are here, please head out to the foyer where we can have representatives for all the areas and also the accommodation as well, so you can get your information and your answers to the questions that you actually want specifically about the course. Thank you so much for attending tonight, and all the best for Year 11 and 12s, the Year 11s and 12s in the room, and the parents who have come with them. Thank you so much.